right, guys, it's your girl Ozzy Avocado with Behind the Buzz. Excuse my voice, I lost it, but I could not give up the opportunity to interview this gentleman right here. Superficial, how are you feeling today?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Your artistry is so complex and so multifaceted. Why did you choose that name, Superficial?
Thank you, first and foremost. And I chose the name because it's kind of like satirical. You know, there's a lot of layers to this shit, a lot of layers to life. And I think that nothing's really that simple. Everything is pretty complex, even the most simplistic things. And in the grand scheme of things, it's much deeper than we think. So my art and what I represent and what defines me is much deeper than surface level and much more complex than what meets the eye. So
That's what's up. So did you choose Superficial to kind of like have an alter ego because you are so complex, so it kind of made it a little lighter to have fun with your art?
I think that yeah, it definitely like is a part of my personality as far as like layers. And also, like, I take a long time to warm up to people. So I feel like at surface level, just like meeting someone, I might be shy and reserved, but there's a lot more to me. And I think in general, we like to judge people, judge books by their cover. So I'm guilty of that as well. So I feel like if we all look deeper than the surface, then we can make the world a better place. So,
It has nothing to do with superheroes, right? 'Cause I'm starting to notice you like superheroes.
Yeah, well, I like to think of it as my alter ego, in the fact that I'm able to come out of my shell and be completely open and vulnerable as Superficial. So that's where the art comes in, like making profound art that's deeply just a part of who I am.
Beautiful.
So
So are you still working in the mental health industry?
So I actually work in a school right now. I work as a guidance counselor, and that's kind of like my Clark Kent. Like by day, I still do something meaningful with my time, even though I work a traditional 9 to 5.
Right.
And I feel like that translates directly into the art that I make. Like it all kind of lines up.
Absolutely. So working as a counselor do you work in DC, the DC public school system?
Yeah, I work at a KIPP school in Southeast. And,
Yo.
Yeah, I used to work at this place. May or may not have heard of it. It's called the Learning Center, and pretty much, I don't like to use the term the worst of the or the worst behaved kids, but I would say a lot of students that need the most support. They have like emotional disturbances. But I work in the mental health field for a minute. Like I'm originally from New York, and I worked in all 5 of the boroughs as a case manager. I worked at a residence, so I just seen a lot of shit, you know what I mean?
I'm sure.
And that's definitely inspired my work. It's also gave me like experience in life. But yeah,
That's what's up. That's not easy to do. I have a lot of friends that work in the school systems, and especially in DC, it's really hard. And there's not a lot of support. So I know those who choose to do it and stick to it are really in it for the right reasons. So how do you balance, work life, like how do you not take what you see in the schools home? What do you do to kind of like offset some of those challenges and burdens of, working with people who are very disenfranchised or don't have as much support as they need?
So my art is therapeutic for me, and it's a way of like releasing that tension and that it can be very taxing working with, it requires a lot of patience and resilience to work in the field. And I feel like just transmuting that energy into positive things, like making sure I stay in the gym, making sure I'm meditating and just being mindful. Like I don't just talk about the emotional intelligence stuff and the mental health stuff for performative reasons. Like this is stuff that's helped me.
Yeah.
And helped me cope with life. You know what I'm saying? Like inside and outside of work. Like things I deal with at work, making sure I don't take it home with me, and making sure I compartmentalize that, and also just stuff I've dealt with in my personal life. Like this shit has really helped me advance and evolve as a human being.
Okay, so we've touched a little bit about, what you do from your 9 to 5 and mental illness a little bit. And I thought it was very interesting just getting the overview of The Mind, your new book that you published very recently. It's a comic book. What made you come up with the story? Is it an idea that's been kind of like brewing for several years, or did it just come to you in a dream and you're like, I got to get this down? How did it come about and why superheroes?
The Mind was inspired by my work in the mental health field, and coming from mental health background, when I originally started working in the schools, this was probably like 6 years ago when I started working for KIP. I was working behavioral management and crisis response, and I feel like I saw it firsthand, like the impact that students with high behaviors or students with emotional disturbances, how it impacted their ability to succeed in school. So I saw like the dropouts, you know what I'm saying? I saw it in real time, just seeing students like pretty much essentially give up on school. And I saw the correlation between mental health, self-care, and actually like addressing mental health in the black community, which is commonly swept under the rug. I saw the importance of that and how that could impact students' ability to be successful in life. So, teaching students the skills they need to stay in the classroom, that was something that was part of my job in and out, like doing the crisis response and making sure like students who they may act out because they don't understand the work, or they may have a low grade reading level, you know what I mean? So that directly impacts their confidence in school. So it wasn't only just to build the confidence, but it's also just to give them the tools to make sure that we do something about the school to prison pipeline. Like, it's a real epidemic, and we don't talk about it enough, but I felt like I could make an impact in that way. So that was
Beautiful.
I felt like putting in a story form, even though some people may view it as a little radical, talking about the school to prison pipeline. It could be jarring and triggering for a lot of students in our population, especially. So I definitely had to make sure like it was an appealing story, but it was also like general enough just to make sure that the point was, I got my point across,
Right.
and that it was saying something that people could actually like.
It's
translate
not
to their life.
radical. It's never too early to
Depending
let
on the audience.
our youngins know about themselves and the environments they're around, just so they can be prepared. So I'm really glad, you were mindful of that, as to not like push them away or get them scared, but kind of empower them to lead life. So tell me a little bit about the 5 characters, because I'm gonna get the book, I'm gonna read it. But the 5 characters and them using their emotional intelligence, give us a little bit of a background about that.
Bro, I'm mad I forgot the book on the kitchen counter, but it's all good. Pretty much each of the 5 main superpowers, or the 5 main characters, they all discover gems that pretty much give them abilities to cope with everyday life. So, for example, the most common thing that I feel like we all deal with is doubt, right? In some shape or form, at some point in our lives, we may have not fully believed in ourselves, or may have doubted ourselves, whether it comes to like something as simple as like a test or an exam, just having that feeling of doubt. So confidence, right? That's such a simple, or it may seem like such a simple superpower, but confidence can take you a long way, right? If you really truly believe in yourself, that's the difference between you coming to school or not, or you actually making strides to better yourself. You know what I mean? So I felt like it's confidence was the main superpower I feel like we could all benefit from. You know what I mean? And then there's patience, there's self-awareness, there's courage, and what is the other one? The patience, courage, self-awareness.
Did you say caring?
Not caring. There's I'm drawing a blank right now. Yeah. So
We gotta read it to find out.
yeah. That's why I said book. But
So, what does STOP stand for? So I know STOP is like the main and antagonist in this story,
Yeah.
right? That's who the 5 are kind of like going against. So what does this STOPP stand for? And also just if you could share with us, at any point in your life, did you feel like you were a victim of the school to prison pipeline?
So there was a way that I wanted to make sure that I got that acronym across for school to prison pipeline. So literally, like, I just wanted to make that fit. I kind of forced that school to prison pipeline into the acronym for the stop sign, because the stop sign literally, like, it's stopping kids from
Right.
from achieving their goals or
Right.
achieving their success.
Right. So have you ever felt like you were a victim or gonna be a victim of the school to prison pipeline?
Oh yeah, so I definitely felt like in my life, just like, I feel like it was more so seeing my friends affected by it, and me being like not having the tools or not having the coping skills to manage my general environment. I feel like that would have hindered me. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that with people that I was close to. I saw that with cousins, and it more so I saw it around me and how it impacted people's motivation.
Right.
And which motivation, that's the last.
There we go.
Yeah. So like motivation is such a key thing, right? Because it's so easy to bullshit or procrastinate.
Yeah.
And just having the tools to have just the responsibility or taking the initiative, right? That's something. That's the difference between being able to succeed at a higher level in education, like whether that's college or just making it out of high school.
Right. So what makes you the outlier? Like, what do you think made you different or able to notice these things and pivot a different direction?
So I feel like me having the grounding that I had, like having the foundation with, I definitely want to give props to my folks. My parents really instilled that in me.
Shout out mom and dad.
What was that?
I said shout out mom and dad.
Oh yeah, because my parents both they moved here from Guyana, so
beautiful.
They both came up and they know how it is to just work their way up, and that was inspiring to me. But me actually going to visit Guyana and see where they came from and see their background, that made me realize, like, I can't complain about anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to really, like, it gave me perspective and realize, like, where they came from, I can't complain. Like, I had it good in comparison, so I can't act like, like it was a complete struggle, because they enforced that and instilled that mindset.
That is so beautiful. Like, I'm also from Senegal, and it's such a strengthening thing to come from so little and not being resentful for it, but letting it empower you to, like, hustle even harder for those who can't. So let's pivot a little bit. I see that you got married recently and welcomed a baby boy. Congratulations. Thank you. That's so awesome. And I know a lot of us have been struggling with this dating in general, especially Black folks, and getting married and all that. So what was your dating life like prior to meeting your wife, and how did you know she was the one?
My dating life prior to my wife was, I guess, like, very fleeting. Cause
Fleeting?
I wasn't in, like, a really long-term relationship, I could say, prior to meeting my wife. I met my wife sophomore year at Howard.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And you've been together ever since, or was it just like?
We had some rocky times.
Okay.
But we had some rocky times. Let's say early on, but we bounced back, and I'm definitely blessed to say that she's been in my life for a long time. Like, we graduated together, and like, we definitely grew together.
Did you always want a wife and kids? Or?
Yeah, I think that was something that was I saw that growing up, but also, like, I wanted someone that, like, that could hold me down, and we could really, like, be a power couple. As far as kids, at first I was kind of like, I didn't know, but I realized that life is crazy and life is unpredictable, and life is dark.
Yeah.
But looking into my son's eyes, like, that makes me not only feel like a kid again, but also, like, it makes me see, like, the hope and see. It makes me more appreciative of the little things in life.
That's beautiful. Have you noticed if any of your friends, since seeing you get married or have kids, have been, trying to do the same thing, or are they even more like, nah, I'm not going down that path?
One of my best friends is married, and a lot of my friends, like, it's like half and half. I think a lot of my friends are like are single, trying to figure it out, dating, and also I also have friends that are in long-term relationships. I have one friend that's married, one friend that has a kid. But yeah, like
That's awesome. I asked because, so as we're getting to get older, I'm 30 now, and a lot of my friends are born in the early 90s, and they're also starting to have kids and, having families. But the other half, like you said, are just not about that life. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that we need to incorporate back in the community. I think a lot of people like fear being in relationships because of the culture and how it kind of just portrays relationships, like love and hip hop and stuff like that. Like, would you see yourself in a show like that? Like, do you think you would fit that dynamic?
I don't know if I fit that dynamic.
Because you do
But
have bars. You're a part of the hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Royalty. You are a barbarian, a
thank you,
barbarologist.
thank you. I think that I I feel like a lot of the love and hip hop stuff, respectfully, is like a lot based on like toxic, blue-faced Christian rock. Like that's like the prototype for that type of shit.
Yeah.
But and like not taking away from them, but
You can.
but I think I like to set an example, hopefully a positive one, and I just don't really see that when I see like some of the relationships you see that are publicized. Like it's a lot of toxic shit, and I don't think we need more toxic shit in our community. I think we need more like uplifting, positive stuff. And I know it's not like an easy thing, right? I know I understand the dating world, and I see people that are close to me that are going through it, and I really think about like how blessed I am, right? Mm-hmm. If we can uplift and build each other up, and like build up our mental health, understand the importance of addressing our mental health and healing, then I feel like we can have a lot more positive relationships. I feel like we can have a lot more, because like no one's perfect, and yeah. I have a lot of stuff that I need to unpack and address, being able to be honest about that with my wife, I feel like that's why we've been able to last and flourish in our relationship, just because we've been open with in our communication and understanding.
Beautiful. And I know you work in the mental, or you have worked in the mental health field, but do you see a therapist? Have you been through that process? Or do you and your wife see a therapist? Is that something you would do?
I'm open to it. I actually haven't seen a therapist, and I think coming up in the West Indian household, it was kind of like my parents were just like, they weren't even like willing to even address therapy. They were just like, oh, you gotta tough it out, you gotta thug it out, like that's what we do. And seeing people, loved ones go through mental health crises, and addressing the things going on in life, like it's easy for, especially in my household and my family, like we're used to that. We're used to just like not seeing a therapist. So I haven't seen a therapist personally, but
You are the therapist.
Low key, I'm the middle child, so I kind of like, I'm kind of like a therapist to my younger sister, and sometimes like the voice of reason from my brother. So like, I'm kind of in the middle of it all, and sometimes my parents might ask me some questions. I'm like, yo, I'm a child. I'm not a child, but I'm your child too. So right. Like, I don't have all the answers, but I appreciate y'all confiding in me. You know what I mean? So. I am the kind of like a family therapist in a way, but a lot of times I have to make sure that I'm addressing my own balance. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I gotta make sure I'm taking care of me too, so I can pour into other people.
I think that's been a great theme here, is just starting with the self before we look to the world, to fixing our relationships. It always has to come back to our own mental health. So I love that. I've also gotten a chance to listen to some of your music. And again, with the multifacetedness, like you make amazing music, you have awesome bars, and you also creative direct your own videos and draw and do all of that. And I just want to know, like, which came first? Like, which form of art did you start doing first before you developed and added onto it?
I always was doodling, drawing, and like art was like, visual art was always something that like, from as young as I can remember, I was always doing that. Music was a big part of my family because my pops actually, he played in a steel drum band. So it was like, music was something that was like instilled in us, but I never thought about making music until I don't want to say late, because, you know, it's always on God's timing. But I feel like I started making beats in college, and I started like taking that seriously as far as like production. But I didn't really think about writing a serious song on my own until I was then about to graduate from school. So I was kind of like just like in a different creative space where I felt like I can kind of bring everything to life with the music. And I was already making beats, so I was like, you know what, like, let me just give it a shot. And the visual art, I feel like that ties directly into the audio art that I make. So that started it all pretty much. And I feel like painting a picture, whether it's, you know, verbally or, you know, visually, I feel like there's so much different ways to, you know.
All right, so final question for you, which kind of goes in hand with this. What kind of projects can we expect from you in 2024? Like more music, more books, more writing? What can we expect from Superficial?
You can expect like a whole different, I would say like all different forms of media, just because I feel like we need visuals, we need good music, but we also need something that's like definitely going to touch people in different ways. So I feel like making short films. I have a few short films that I'm working on as well, just to bring the music.
And writing.
Yeah.
And all of it. I love film for that reason alone. It incorporates every medium of art, honestly, from set design to writing to the score of the film to like the visuals, like all of that. So
I'm working on an animation for the mind as well. So that's one of my things that I'm really focusing on. I want to bring that to, I really want to bring it to life, because I feel like I like reading, but not everyone has the same, like, you know, standpoint on that. So I feel like to get it to, especially to the kids, we have to like make sure it's animated and something that they can really watch.
Especially during this time, like I think it's up to us as creatives, as Black creatives, to change the narrative or be a part of the narrative, because if you're looking at the news right now, stories are very skewed. So we need more of us creating these stories and bringing them to life. And I definitely want to see the Mine, like cartoon form, Cartoon Network, YouTube, all of that. So I'm gonna keep asking you about that. Seems like a small idea now, but we need the cartoon ASAP.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right. Okay, that's a wrap with Superficial. Thank you so much for coming to sit and talk with us at Grindstone.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Peace out. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.